In breaking news tonight, it appears that Trump's CPAC appearance committing to strengthening the Republican Party has come to fruition. In his first move since leaving office, President Trump has endorsed South Carolina Republican Tim Scott he's a first-term senator and the only black Republican in the Senate in South Carolina. Scott did work closely with Trump on police reform bill that was blocked by Senate Democrats, and he routinely defended the former president's policies over the 4 years he was in office. President Trump's seal of approval is a huge benefit for Republicans seeking office, both for fundraising and for creating more enthusiasm behind the candidate. No one can dispute the energy Trump has brought not only to CPAC, but to conservatives watching around the world. That's all everyone talked about over the weekend. The letter from Donald Trump endorsing Tim Scott reads, "It is my great honor to give Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina my complete and total endorsement," Trump said in his statement. "He is both an outstanding senator and a person who works tirelessly for the people of his great state and the USA. Strong on the military, law enforcement, loves our vets, protects our Second Amendment and our borders. Tim will continue to do an outstanding job for our country." This is what we needed of Donald Trump. He put aside a lot of questions about starting a whole other party centered around him at CPAC and basically said we need to unify and improve the Republican Party, not start another party to cause division. In showing that he can lead as well as talk, he's actually gone out and started putting his support behind great senators. And what better senator do we have that is a love of the USA, strong on the military, law enforcement, and loves our veterans while protecting our Second Amendment? As you know, I'm a big 2A guy, so everybody that is going to be coming into office, I'm going to be vetting based on one of the requirements of them being 2A proponents, people who are going to help protect the Second Amendment and make sure that it constitutionally does not get taken away from us. Well, that's going to be a great show this week, and we got breaking news. I think that's one of the coolest features that we have. I love the animations, and of course it gets you kind of involved and ready for the night. Tonight is March 2nd. Hard to believe. I'm still struggling with the fact that we're already in March. And here we are just ticking away the days as we go into this new Biden administration. But it's a great honor to be here with you all. I want you to know I do appreciate you. We do need you to continue to like, share, subscribe, follow, and do all the commenting that you can do. As I said, we do try to get to all the comments when the show is over. And all the DMs that I get on Facebook or on Twitter, I do respond to them personally. So if you have anything you'd like to say to me, please feel free. I'm a person who can shoulder constructive criticism, and I enjoy doing what I'm doing. I think we're putting together a great show. The content continues to get better. Lauren continues to get more comfortable behind the console, and obviously I'm getting more comfortable in front of the console, which is right here in front of you all. I have to tell you, it's a daunting task watching yourself after the fact. So you have the self-criticism that occurs when you're doing a show like this. You're watching your body language, your movement, how you appear on camera, the way you speak, when you stumble. And since you are your own worst critic, I can assure you that there's no one that's more critical of me than me. But let's get right into this great show this evening. In other breaking news, another phenomenal act has come out of the great state of Texas. Of course, we expected Texas. That's right. Today at a Mexican restaurant in Lubbock, Governor Greg Abbott said that he is ending Texas' statewide mask mandate and will soon allow all businesses to open at full capacity. Abbott has argued that Texas has fought the coronavirus pandemic to the point that people and businesses don't need the state telling them how to operate any longer.
Too many Texans have been sidelined from employment opportunities. Too many small business owners have struggled to pay their bills. This must end. It is now time to open Texas 100%.
The new rules will take effect on March 10th, and Texas can return to normal life without any mandates on masks. Now, we have talked a lot about states that are pushing back on mask mandates. We have talked about North Dakota having a maskless mandate. We're talking about Oklahoma passing legislation to actually see the constitutionality of executive orders that are being passed down by the president. And these are things that are not just going to relate to this president. It's going to relate to some things that are long term. But since the beginning, Texas has been on the forefront of actually going against what the Biden administration has done. If you remember, the Biden administration wanted to have a mass release and no more deportations for people who have crossed the border illegally. Texas not only took them to court, but won and said that it is not legal for them to stop the deportation. So they've continued their deportation efforts in Texas. We love Texas. Unfortunately, I live in Arizona, and that's why I have to wear this shirt. It says, "My governor is an idiot." I am not a happy camper with Doug Ducey, and as much as I really hate talking bad about any Republican governor, we're here to call it out and call the clowns out regardless of where they're coming from, and Doug Ducey is really a clown. But pushback is happening not only against executive orders, but the excessive restrictions that the coronavirus has led us into. If you look at states with the strongest restrictions, those are the ones that have more business failures and more suicide in younger teens than any other state in the union. So we're seeing the opposite effects, the negative effects of all of these mandates, all of these issues that are being pushed up for the sake of the health of the children. The long-term mental effects of these mandates are not yet to be seen, and we may not see them for another 10 to 15 years. Already seeing higher suicide rates. We're bound to see higher drug use, job loss rates, people on welfare, because it is causing young minds, which are the most moldable, to become susceptible to the negative impacts. So we really appreciate Texas. Obviously, it's a leader upon leaders when it comes to states, and they've continued to show the way in doing the right thing for America. Coming back to people who aren't so bright, Mitt Romney was treated at a hospital in Boston over the last weekend after falling down and losing consciousness on a visit to see his grandchildren. Guess he wasn't playing Mario Kart. Romney's response to reporters was, "What can I say? I had kind of a tough weekend." Then he jokingly said that he went to CPAC and that was the problem. Mitt Romney, however, did not go to CPAC last weekend because he chose to forego it, even though it's the largest conservative grouping in the United States every year. Romney declined to say what he was doing when the fall took place, but I'll take a good guess he might have slipped in the bathtub. And based on the black eye that he was given, I'm sure the bathtub did to Mitt Romney what a lot of Americans wish they could do. All Mitt Romney would say is the nature of his fall is, "Well, I took a fall. That's about as far as I need to go. Knocked me unconscious, but I'm doing better," he said. Maybe Mitt Romney can be the new spokesperson for Life Alert.
"I've fallen, and I can't get up."
He was just putting together his resume video for Life Alert. As he starts to get in later years, he needs to look at life beyond politics because he's burning bridges left and right within the party. In another really just ridiculous action by the Biden administration, let me ask you this. Do you think that a loving parent would send their kids alone to the border with cartel smugglers, even if that was the idea to come out to get a better life? You're going to have to go with potentially being raped, murdered, and obviously separated from your family. Well, it seems like a pretty simple answer. I know as a father I would never let my kids go anywhere without me being immediately able to protect them, much less with drug smugglers, human smugglers, and knowing the high propensity for child rape, molestation, being sold into child slavery. But it's not. For Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, he's got an easy answer too, but it's really not in the way you would think. He responded to a question from the press about how the Biden administration is doing things differently than Trump did. and in terms of how they were handling the migrants. Check this out.
Actually, the Trump administration expelled children to Mexico. And we are not expelling young children. We are not apprehending a 9-year-old child who's come alone, who's traversed Mexico, whose parents, whose loving parents had sent that child alone. We're not expelling that 9-year-old child to Mexico when that child's origin, country of origin, was Guatemala, Honduras, or El Salvador.
I almost need to hear that again. I've watched that clip probably 30 times today, and I just can't believe that he's pretty much saying that loving parents will send the kids alone to the U.S.-Mexico border, where many reports have confirmed that most of these kids are being grabbed by drug smugglers and trafficked. But he's saying that loving parents will bring them to the border. I'm just having a hard time digesting that. How do you bring your kids to the border? I don't know. Alejandro Mayorkas was a shoo-in for today's Clown of the Day. It's hard to believe that we just get through these shows and some of the stuff that we come up with. This is all real news, and I think that's what makes it so crazy, is that when we started Clown World Network, the whole premise of what we were doing was to expose what was going on, not with just our political leaders, but in like kind of the world around us. It's hard to imagine some of the things that politicians say and get away with. It's hard to imagine some of the things that professional athletes say and get away with, or people in the media, or people in Hollywood. But these are the people who think they are dictating the future of our lives. People who are making decisions for us and expecting us to follow blindly with them. Never question, never get in the way of what their policy or their agenda is. Well, I'm here to tell you, the purpose of this show is to really provide you with a place of like-mindedness. Not to be a soundboard just because we want to hear ourselves sound exactly the same all across the internet. It's to be a soundboard. It's to provoke your thoughts and your ideas and to bring you to an awareness state that maybe you haven't felt before. I have to be honest. All through my life, I've gone through the elections not really paying attention to who's president, who's not president, what policies are going through, what bills are passing through the House, and how that has a long-term effect. But I need to tell you something. This $1.9 trillion package will take 30 generations to pay off. I need you to think about that. Not just 30 years, but 30 generations to pay off. That's how in debt our country is. And what does a politician do if they can't spend money to write laws or to make other organizations? This is the problem we have. We talk about systemic racism in the media all the time. What we need to be talking about is systemic politicians, because there is no doubt in my mind when they go to Washington, many of them have great ideals. They have good policies that they want to bring, but they become quickly miffed by the fact that they can't get anything done unless they're part of a good old boy network, unless they're taking money, unless they're becoming somebody who is in somebody else's pocket. Because you can't get anything done if you have no people behind you to support you. So they write these laws and they write these packages and they put this pork into bills that makes it where we don't even really understand what's happening in the world around us. We don't understand what's happening in Washington or how our tax dollars are being spent. Now, I can assure you, when I was a kid, my parents used to have a checkbook, and they used to balance the checkbook. If they wrote a check, they knew how much money was going to come out, and they knew how it was going to impact their spending ability. But do you realize that we pay taxes without balancing the checkbook? Do you realize that we give them carte blanche to pretty much do whatever they want, and they're getting away with it over and over and over again? The more I've learned and the more involved I've gotten over the last several years, the more I realize this is a bad way for our country to go, because at some point it's going to bite us in the ass. And I truly believe that we're on the cuspis right now of actually really getting bit in the ass. All of these billions of dollars going to other countries, it is general money laundering right before our very eyes, using the guise of political correctness or political Activision and using the Congress and the Senate to make it legal to do it. Now, when you go to the bank and you want to pull out more than $9,999, you have to fill out a form. When you want to deposit more than $9,999, you have to fill out a form. You're accountable for the money that goes in and out of your account. But where's the accountability for the people in Washington? And that's why I'm fed up. And I hope you understand that I come on here every night, not because I think I'm smarter than anybody else, because believe me, I'm not. I went to college, but I didn't graduate. I open a business. I work hard every day, 7 days a week to employ people and pay my taxes. I'm impressed by certain people in our legislature, and I'm depressed by the rest of them. And I'm talking about the 95%. I encourage you each and every day to learn something new, to be involved, to be able to have a real discussion. You know, there was a thing that says you don't ever discuss politics and religion. Well, this year that went out the window. I discuss politics and religion every day of my life because I believe that in order to be able to make change, I have to be able to reach people. And if we're quiet about it, how are we going to reach anybody? That'll about wrap us up this evening. As always, we appreciate you joining us. Be good to each other. Know that I love you. And we'll talk to you again real soon. And remember, it's a clown world out there.